again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love once again. Welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, and I am filled with ideas, so many inspirations. There's so much I want to share with you. So for those of you who are already here, thank you. Thank you for noticing, catching the notifications. And if you tune in later, yep, I started early. I threw you a curveball today, man. Happy Tuesday to everyone. I am really, truly feeling blessed and inspired and truly filled with love once again today. And I've got a presentation for us. I've got some stories to share. I thank you, Logical Spark. I'll check for that soon. Okay. Blessings to you. Watching from the Typhoon Joy. Blessings. Hey, and welcome to everyone. Starting a little early today, filled with inspirations, lots of topics to talk about, and my co-partner, maybe not quite ready.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Sorry, I'm ready. I'm here.
Hey, welcome back to you. How are you feeling today?
Good. I'm fading away again. I don't know why that happens, where I disappear into the background. Because I'm not real. But it's all good. I'm good. How are you?
I feel blessed. Your audio sounds a little something.
Thank you for telling me. This happens every time I join the StreamYard. It's not my own. Yep, there it is. All right, should be better now.
Thank you. Yes, much better. Much better. Thank you. And dear Firewall, thank you. Yeah, the pre-link, I'm glad you bring that up because a lot of people tune in for the post link, you know, when Jack opens himself up. But I really do hope that more people will tune in to the monologues, right? To some of the ideas that I'm offering. And actually today, what I'm hoping with you, Landry, is we can actually discuss some of these ideas, right? Because some of my observations, I was gone yesterday, right? That's when I was absent again. The body wasn't feeling up to, I wasn't feeling very good. But today I'm feeling filled with inspiration. And for me, I had a lot of time to lay around and think. In the past, oh man, that would drive me nuts. I would be just filled with anger and bitterness. But these days, having Jack sit around and think, there's a lot that can happen from that. When Jack opens, I said this wrong. When Jack opens himself up, it is crazy work, man. But I've realized that's part of who I am. I do shine with others. And I consider most of us are probably like that. We all shine a little brighter in who we are when we're with others who allow us to shine. There's been a lot who want to diminish me in the past, but things are changing. I didn't even get into the Tal quote today, to the thumbnail and the background. Old Jackie boy in front of the Capitol building. I want to be in the Capitol building. I want to talk about some of the things I saw in the news recently too, right? But here, we're going to focus on being of value for the viewers, for the listeners. This Talcott Tuesday Tal quote, clarity of mind is found through the removal of doubts, right? That really is the path to inner peace. And I was considering this earlier. Our whole world is composed of imagination. We can unpack that thought if we need to, but you can imagine yourself broken or okay. Like when a little kid falls down, that kid will imagine itself hurt and broken, needing everything, or it'll be okay. We can each do that. Lingering doubts within us where we carry this nonsense around, it becomes a disease. We'll relieve ourselves of the insanity through patterns of addiction. We'll get attached to patterns and ideas, and it's literal insanity. The world is created for the insane to multiply. It's created for everything to multiply. It's such a perfect design, this reality we share, man. What I've been learning, though, is unconditional love. It's true. It's real. It's up to each of you, each of us, to grow in that unconditional love. It holds no doubts at all because there's no expectations or conditions. If something hurts, it hurts. It's no one's fault. It just is. Right? These are the things I've been practicing in my own head to give my heart this inner peace and joy. So become that which you know to be true. That's how we overcome the doubts. We become truly honest and authentic. Is that coming through, making sense?
Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on doubts?
That it can become an overwhelming phenomenon because especially in this online space where you really have certainty with certain people, and when that's shown to be invalid, which here on the internet that can happen quite often, it makes you feel like you gotta have your guard up, and this is one of those things where it's not good because we get stuck in these this inaction because we're doubting not just others but ourselves.
This is what each of us has to overcome. We've got to overcome our inner doubts. And here, I've got a presentation kind of along these lines, right? The power of our internal dialogue, right? Balanced with the idea of unconditional love. Unconditional love being the goal so that we experience that, we share that, where love is the only way. We transform our doubt into confidence by changing that inner dialogue. Our negative self-talk, that's what fuels our fear. It fuels our self-doubt, our self-destructive cycles. I watched myself doing things in the past and I didn't understand. Why am I doing this? I know this drinking isn't good for me. I know it's not accomplishing anything. I couldn't get out of my head. I didn't know why. Now I know it's by the grace of God that everything is. Positive self-talk, that's truly the only way to share love. To be with love is to love yourself. You can't authentically, honestly love anyone else if you don't fully love who you are, because you won't know how. You have all this life we're living. It is a spiritual experience. Things are not as they seem. Most times there's a different way of seeing things, right? So if you can flip the script of the negative self-talk into a positive self-talk, being more encouraging, that better is available, that greater is coming, that I am growing, right? Man, it transforms everything. Example of a positive, I can learn from this. We can learn from anything if we pay attention, if we accept what we've seen, if we listen and to what we've heard. We can learn from anything. But that negative doubter, I always fail. Why try? They'll always do that. That's the, you got to cut them off. That's the one I hear a lot. I believe that we can all do better. This impact of inner voice, man, there's so much data showing how much our inner voice and our inner thoughts have on our physical body. Positive dialogue, it boosts your confidence, your motivation, you feel better, you're more grounded, you're more secure. The little things don't matter, right? You can just let things slide. I mean, not in bad ways, but to flow. The negative dialogue that increases our stress, anxiety, that's what truly limits our potential. And I was considering my observations on doubts earlier. They truly are nothing but a waste of time. Doubts are a waste of time. Worry is a waste of time. It doesn't solve anything. It's just this facade that we pretend. Um, we pretend our doubts and our worries are important, but what's important is to be with love. The role of unconditional love. This is what I was blessed to experience. Within myself, I allowed myself acceptance without judgment. I stopped judging myself, at least for a moment. And then I felt this love come through me that just by accepting me and who I was, I didn't realize the words back then or know what was going on. And I'm still figuring it out, but unconditional love transforms us. Unconditional love is who we are. It's our doubts that prevent the love from showing. It's that simple. So this is what this live without fear message is about too, man. Living with love, you can get past that self-criticism. You can let the doubter go. You can let the doubter just go away. Stop the habit of doubting yourself. Stop the habit of making yourself worry. Doing these things, it creates safety for yourself to grow, heal, to take greater links. That's what life's about, man. Just a few more slides. And Landry, if you've got anything, please
I think
interrupt.
I'll probably jump in at the end, but I'm going to let you keep powering through.
Thank you, my friend. So we can replace our self-destructive beliefs, that real critical voice within us. We can find mercy and compassion. We have the ability in our heads. It just means you got to be willing to allow yourself to try on different ideas. That's all it takes. But doing these things, it builds your inner strength, your inner confidence, so that when things happen, they're not going to break you. You'll be more prepared. Have a greater inner confidence. And it encourages your inner peace. And with inner peace, you feel this greater, stronger self-worth. And with that, man, staying with love is easy, dude. And what I've really learned from many teachers, the devil is in the doubt. But the doubt leads to wonder. All things lead to the good. All things lead to God. It's truly a divine creation that we are a part of. And truly, I said it in the beginning in the thumbnail that I can't. I said it in the beginning with the thumbnail. We're in the description. We live in a realm of imagination. Everything has been imagined. It's through the power of words that our reality is created and shared. Self-love and harmony, right? Unconditional support, that dissolves doubts. Practicing awareness, inner awareness, challenging your negative thoughts, reminding yourself to embrace compassion, embrace forgiveness, reminding yourself it's okay to let things go sometimes. Talk to yourself like someone you love. Become your best friend. Become the parent that bruised child was looking for. This is right? You face the doubts and you can live without the fear. What do you think, man?
Absolutely, man. And a lot of it's interesting because fear is one of those things where a lot of people try to use other people's fear. Um, Fear is one thing, but I mean, there's so many emotions that all tie in together. So I'm really trying to think of this in a grand scope as to what I would say. I can take away from it today. I mean, I think courage is what keeps us prevailing. I think others might try to stop us and try to put bricks in the way or put obstacles in our path, but it takes courage to keep moving forward. But another thing that takes courage is to try new things and to try something new, which I think is probably the biggest culprit of the lack of innovation in most things in life, is the lack of trying new things.
That's what I realized. We got to grow. To grow, we got to try new things. And it's not as hard or as scary as the mind will convince it to be. This is what I realized. The power of our mind creates our reality. Most people have not been taught how to understand, how to be present with thoughts. People have been taught how to react, how to obey, how to avoid reactions, right? Through obedience. People have been conditioned to pretend to understand. They pretend to listen. They pretend to know what they're doing. This is what the entire US government is doing. I'm sitting here just outside of DC and I'm watching Donald Trump fail, right? He just met with Putin. He just met with Zelensky and the other representatives. He failed to push for a ceasefire. He doesn't think it's a big deal, but I'd love for him to face the mothers and the fathers of the children who are going to unnecessarily die because the war is just continuing another day. I'm disgusted by what's happening in this world. What's happening here in DC with Donald Trump bringing National Guard into the streets. What in the hell is going on? This is hell. Why? Because people are pretending we can't do something. I say that's bullshit. I say we've got every reason to try to end wars, to try to get Donald Trump to do his damn job and bring peace to the world like he said he was going to do. I want to help him.
So what do you think? Say I put him in front of you right now. I capture him. I kidnap him. I lock him up in a cage. You have his full undivided attention. What do you say to Donald Trump?
I'm here to help. I'm here to help you understand how to be honest and authentic like a true leader is intended to become. And then as he improves in his character and integrity, he'll be the example for the other members of Congress. And as they have a true awakening and somewhat of a come to Jesus moment, waking up to the reality of what they've been participating in, well, each member of Congress today will then have the choice. Do they want to continue now that things are changing? Or are they going to get out of the way and we'll get someone else from their appropriate districts in to do the job that's necessary? It's time to reform the world. It's time for the world to reevaluate what the world is doing. This is what my mind is global, okay? It's not just the Palestine and the Ukraine stuff I'm in my head. It's also the Sudan and the Congo, the stuff that's not in the news. It's these men and women who've been in refugee camps for decades. This is hell on earth that the American way is just comfortable with, thinking it's okay. We're numb, guys. The world has become comfortably numb in its suffering. The religions helped people learn how to cope with oppression. It's been going on for generation after generation. But it's time, brothers and sisters. It is time for it to change. And I know I'm a part of it. Either that or I'm not real. I've been wondering, man, is this real? Am I really saying these things publicly? Each of us, through our lives, we experience moments of pain. It's really easy for us to come up with imagine our own reasons for the pain with blame. We disassociate ourselves with things. And we live in a world where it truly has the selfishness and greed. It is up to mankind to overcome. Hello. I mean, God's given us everything. The story of Jesus, the history, it's been misinterpreted by a lot of people, or a lot of people just never really learned. There's been a lot of lies going on. Hey, I've been going on and on. You got stuff? I'm wondering, should I drop the link?
I do want to see what happens today. I'm curious if any of them have been discouraged. Something that happened yesterday, though, that was interesting to me. There's this guy who he called in to my stream, and he immediately brought up Steven, and he was Indian, and you could barely hear him. It was clipping like more than anything I've ever heard. And I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was just someone who had bad audio. Maybe they were a fan of Steven or something. But then it sort of occurred to me, maybe this was somebody that was paid like off of Fiverr to come share something, because they were so unfamiliar with everything we were talking about that they were just saying to go look at Steven's this and go give Steven attention that, so I think he might be at his breaking point to where if you continue to ignore him, he might just give up. You know what I mean? So but feel free to open it up and we'll see where it goes.
I love it, man. Here, whoops. Yes, we'll see where it goes. I want to encourage anyone who joins, especially those with patterns against me. All I ask is you be open to try some different ideas today. I think that's the way to get through this, Landry. It's going to be through cooperation and through, healthy conversations. Because that truly is the only way for us to get along. I recognize this. I have this in the description each day too, where it says, praise God, justice and righteousness, they are the natural order for life. Justice and righteousness. Justice and righteousness is more than just running around condemning people, right? We got a lot of people happily playing the role of accusers. And it makes very little sense to me. But these accusers that have been brought against me, they've actually caused no harm to me, but they have certainly delayed my progress, my growth. Speaking of, I sent a message to Jaron today. I invited him to join sometime. I'd love to talk to him about his life path, right? His personal experience with what he did.
I can role play. I probably have it down to the T. What he would say, and it would definitely somehow, no matter what you do, somehow it would end up in the shape of the Earth. Even if you said no Earth, it would still somehow get there. But no, I think you should.
I think we could have some good conversations. And here's another man who's very wonderful at communicating. Our friend Dick, Freedom Grower. How you doing, brother?
Dick Donut. What's up, Donut?
Yo, what's happening, guys? I'm just feeling a little low tea, you know, and I wanted to kind of marinate in your guys' testosterone and see if I can bump myself up a little bit.
It's very rare that I hear anyone use testosterone and me in the same sentence, but thank you.
Dick always has a way
you
with
guys are great.
words.
I'm only here to help. It's I think sometimes about just the technology world we're going into, Jack, and I won't derail. Let me just listen here first, and I'll just kind of sit back, and if something's pertinent, I'll chime in.
Well, I'm not sure if you caught recent. I was saying about we live in this world of pretend and imagination, and the people in Congress, Donald Trump. I watched the pomp and circumstance. Right, that's all it was. It was just theatrics with Donald Trump and the news agency, the photo op. What can you imagine to achieve peace in Ukraine? A wake-up call to reality. There's no reason for war. There's every reason to stop the wars. There's countless reasons to stop the destruction, right? Mankind has created hell on earth. And I said this was the thought that came to me earlier watching the news. The world, right? The world needs to look at the whole world and realize what the hell is going on. Ask ourselves, what the hell is going on? Welcome back, Powder Dusty. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm hoping my signal holds up for this. How do I sound?
You sound solid. Solid and sexy.
God damn
it. Yes. Hey, thank you. I did get some rest, but laying around, I was just thinking about all these things I've in the world, and it makes no sense to me. The world we have today. Oh, I guess his signal dropped. Dick, you got anything so far?
Donut.
Well, I mean, as far as like how you could use the technology, they now have ability where you can train your own AI, and then that could go in and do a bunch of work for you during the day to like forward the cause, because you're busy as kind of like a front person for the whole movement. So it's like you come in, there's the authentic Jack, but then there's the Jack that's working on your behalf, just like in perpetuity. And that's where you just have to refine that. If you're an early adopter and you can get in there and really, you know, program that thing to do a superior job and replace you, then, you know, it could do what we couldn't have done otherwise, is all I'm saying. It might be the solution.
The solution is for us to overcome our individualism and recognize our true interdependence. Everything that our entire society, I pointed out in the beginning, we exist in a realm of imagination. Every building was imagined, designed, created by other people, right? They imagined it all. And others followed the design. And I mean, from the infrastructure, the roads, the electricity, technology, all of this, it's been a group effort through the mind and will of, through the mind of imagination and through the willingness of people. We could accomplish so much more if people weren't going to their jobs carrying around all these worries about their debts and their loved ones, right? Because we live in a dangerous world where everyone's in this on their own. And, you know, there's so many studies that show this money system we've got is completely rigged. Why in the frick are we not confronting it? I mean,
but most of the service-oriented jobs, the coding, the fucking sales, the marketing, all that will be replaced, which will free up a lot of hands. You know, that's why they say you need the universal basic income.
No, in my mind, I encourage you, try this idea on a world where money like the Star Trek. It's beyond the need of money. We've got the technology. We could easily raise the living standard for every human being on this planet. Easily. Especially if we stop destroying what's already been. Has anyone seen the footage of Israel and Gaza right now? I mean, the fucking devastation.
It's horrible. I have seen it. I don't recommend it. It's really sad.
Yeah. And the people responsible are just right down the road from me. Because I hold the American government, those sitting in the office, they are responsible for the diplomacy around the world. America was created as this last hope, this great experiment. We're being taken over, guys.
Well, and the future wars appear as though they will be fought with technology. So if that's the case, if you don't want to have that be the case, the only way around that would be to have land that's like protected from that technology where it's just banned altogether. You can't have the drones, you can't have militarized type, self-operating or self-sustaining type of technology, AI enhanced vehicles that don't have a driver. It gets really dicey. And I'm not actually joking when I say that. Like, when you got, how do you have it alongside that?
Through oversight, through public care, honest, compassionate inquiry with one another. We don't allow the corporations and the governments to oppress our neighbors. This is bullshit that we do right now. I mean, there's innocent men and women locked in cages. We call them prisons. Those prisons exist to profit for shareholders. This is America, the land of the free, where people have lost sight of what it means to be community. These communities shouldn't be at war with one another, creating defenses against one another. That's tribalism. What we've got now, you can call it whatever you want. Colonialism, we've got the oligarchy, we've got corruption is prevailing. Now, why would corruption prevail? In a land of, 350 million Americans who have the freedom and voice to speak and choose freely? How could corruption prevail? Things are not always as they seem. See, God is with us. And that's what I've learned is most important to know. God is the love that allows us to be comfortable, safe, in a corrupted and diseased world. But who are we going to serve? Mammon? I'm not at war with anyone except corrupted ideas, right? Doubts and disbeliefs. That's what corrupts people. So what would I say to Donald Trump if I was right in front of him? Yeah, I'm here to help you do what you said you were going to do. He said he was going to bring peace to the world and expose the deep state. There's a lot of men and women who've trusted him, but he's being fooled. He's being played a fool by the devil. He thinks money is king. He doesn't know where he stands with God. I want to help him realize. Oh, that reminds me of something I read recently. I mentioned this book yesterday. Do you mind if I keep going? Keep flowing? All right. I mentioned this book I picked up on the way out of Dallas. This concept of faith, it's tied to the topic of doubts, pretend, and imagination, because we'll pretend and we'll give our doubts this importance. And we can believe whatever we want. It's entirely up to us. Well, us and karma, I guess. But faith, God has dealt to each one a measure of faith. That was the scripture I was trying to remember yesterday. God has dealt to each one a measure of faith. And faith is something that helps determine the way we see ourselves. It's not just the faith we think in God, it's faith in ourselves. Sometimes we think faith is only about the way we see God. Faith, however, is also about how we see who we are when we are connected to God. According to the measure of faith given to us, we are able to see who we are in God. In other words, we believe what God says about us. We do not let the opinions of others shape us. We must gain our identity expressly from the Lord and His Word. And in other words, Jesus was the prototype for us all. We have the right to claim ourselves to be okay. We can claim the right to be okay with faith. I realized a while ago faith was important. I was lacking in it and I didn't understand it. It's because I'd grown attached to my old life, my old comfort zone, and a lot of inner nonsense I had to face. But the more I thought about it, faith is a gift that's available for us all. Claim your gift of faith so you can claim your right to be okay with the past, the present, even the doomful future. Be okay. Because as soon as you're okay, your nervous system feels okay. Your body, it starts feeling different and you get these different ideas. I'm telling you guys, God's doing something special with me, and it's not me, it is we. God is doing something special with us. I look forward to what our future is going to bring.
Yeah. Well, what you're saying is true. I mean, if you want to create something, it's always good to build from that foundation of confidence and assurance and putting your hand to the plow with an expectation of a harvest and actually accomplishing your objectives. You know, you don't go into a goal thinking, I'm just putting this out here to fail. It's like, no, I have a purpose. I'm trying to accomplish this. So attitude is gratitude, and gratitude is, you know, something we can manufacture ourselves if we're willing.
That, Dick, that willingness to grow in gratitude. Holy crap, that was such a tough lesson for me, but it was so simple too, right? That is the path to happiness. It's a no-brainer. Find more things to be grateful for. It's like, hello, McFly. And then when we do feel grateful, even in the discomfort, this is something I got to practice yesterday when my stomach was a little off and, you know, things weren't feeling very comfortable. I got to take my mind from the discomfort that really was there, and I brought it into bliss, heavenly ideas, and massage, man. These bodies are so friggin' amazing. The complication in our design, right? How complicated the human body is, miles of vessels and all this craziness that we grow into. That's evidence of God for me, man. And if there's a God, I want to make the world that our God created a little brighter as much as I can.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. It just reflects to me that everything is has an intelligent, creative aspect to it, and that's, you know, even down to the simple things. It's like God has a plan for everything. There's a unpredictable nature to it, but there's also aspects to it that we can rely on and find comfort in. And it's just kind of what we choose to focus on, because, you know, it wouldn't, as much as sometimes we want things to be all predictable and understood and everything to be solved and no problems and all that kind of stuff, I don't think we find the best version of ourselves when we're not challenged. So it seems clear to me
Right.
this realm is here to challenge us and to press us, find out what we're made of.
Oh, yes, yes, it is, Dick. And the path, the key to knowing is that you are already everything. That's the conclusion to consider, is you're already everything. Everything you wanted and everything you imagined has been you. And this, I used to believe this, Slick Rick, and I'm sorry if you're still in this perception of life is about misery and suffering sprinkled with a little bit of happiness. I used to believe that. But today, what I know is love generates life. Think about this. Love is that energy that like fills us, motivates us, it pumps us up, right? It brings our inspiration and our energy. Love is the life force within us. When we're not feeling loved, we're feeling depressed and insecure, low self-worth. Love is way distant from us. We're not motivated. And if we're not motivated, we're not going to create the life we love. When I recognized that I was responsible for the life I was living, right? Good and bad, I guess I just woke up, man. I'd fallen asleep. This is my testimony. I fell asleep at the wheel, living the American dream. And then somehow God allowed my perception to shift. And I've been on this path of study and growth and development, self-development.
Yeah. But just to challenge your position, and not for the sake of chaos or anything, but to genuinely kind of take like one of the great leaders like Christ, right? He said to the guy who didn't invest the shekels and get a return that he was kind of like a bad servant, right? So, I mean, even the Christ was kind of putting this anxiety and pressure on you that, hey, you got some shit to do. You need to get these decisions right. You're a steward. I'm putting responsibility in your hands. What say you to all that?
Each of us has talents within us, and that's the shekels, right? We're not supposed to keep our talents within us. That which is within us when it's brought forth from the book of Thomas, if I remember right. That which is within us when brought forth will create us. That which is within, if it's not brought forth, will destroy us. The talents are the shekels. And there is something in this book too about we're all created for a life purpose. The world doesn't want us to know who we are, though. The world profits from people not knowing their life purpose, from going along with obedience and fear. But it's all a perfect story, right? That we're a part of. And if we can accept the perfection, then we can know true unconditional love. I couldn't find the scripture, but it says something about we're all brought forth. We're pre-fashioned, preordained on a life path by some purpose. And people have been trying to discuss this for centuries, man. The idea of consciousness and spirituality and God. It truly is my favorite topic. Which reminds me, part of the feeling renewed today and my motivation is I do feel it is time for me and others to start taking me a little bit more seriously. And to do that, I know I can get more attention if I reach greater platforms. And there's some brilliant minds who I would love to have some conversations with. I may have offended or whatever. My reputation has kept them away, but Jim Bob, I'd love to have conversations with Jim Bob, Anton Daniels, and what's his name? Wilson guy, Andrew Wilson. They're both great. They're all great communicators, and I would love to have a discussion, not a debate, not an argument, but an actual discussion with them regarding the philosophies of religion, economics, and politics.
Well, with Andrew, I think you'd have to have a discussion with him about debate, because I think that's like his main thing is he just does debate, right?
I know. That's kind of one of the things I want to talk to him about. Seeing if he can grow in
Mostly
his...
religious, right? His angle's
What's that?
mostly like Jim Bob's mostly religious, right? Isn't that mostly his
Mhm.
angle, is promoting
Much of it.
Catholicism?
Much of it.
And then
Hey,
who is the other guy?
Anton Daniels,
Oh,
Millionaire Morning Show or whatever. And I don't know if I insulted her. I felt insulted by her. Their arrogance, man. But this is what I mean. People online have gotten into this pattern of arguing. Debate, they call it debate, but to debate without the growth or expansion of knowledge, right? To debate without finding an agreement, it's mental masturbation. There's a world humanitarian crisis that's happening in the world. And I'd love to convince some of these YouTube creators who have larger platforms to join me in my efforts. It's time to make a difference. It's time to stop, entertaining for shekels and and comfort. That's what I'd like to see. So,
and what did you want the conversation to be around again with those people?
The philosophy, well, what I just said, as well as specifically have some discussions on the philosophies of religion, economics, and politics. Because they're just different perceptions of thought. They're all philosophies.
Yeah.
In my mind, that's what a philosophy is, right?
I think that's completely realistic. I think having a communication with those people is within reach, and I think would be very interesting conversations. Like, I think it would actually be fun to have and would be good content.
Thank you, Dick. I appreciate that. And that's what I was thinking too. I'm trying to look around and see what's the best opportunity for growth, for success. And I'm not in this for myself, not in the slightest. I am in this to make a difference because I feel I found my purpose. And my purpose in this world is to help others find their purpose, a greater purpose, so that a greater life can be lived. I didn't know I could live a life of my dreams, and that's kind of what I've been doing. My life is like a dream ever since I found God in it. It's been like unexplained thing after unexplained thing after unbelievable thing, but who knows where it'll lead. But that is who I am. I'm here to help others face their fears. Now, the only ones that will work with are those who are willing to try on some different ideas. It's as simple and as complicated as that. Just trying on some different ideas. That's how you can overcome your own doubts. Just seeing things in a different way can change everything that you feel about everything. I experienced it. I don't know if the words are making sense, but I know other people have experienced things too like that.
I think everybody has to face that doubt at some level with whatever they're doing, and especially in the day of the social not working with all the media and technology, how it kind of presents only the success stories or really mocks and denigrates the failures. It puts an added pressure, but aside from all that, I think it's like learning to move past that is just another one of those tests. And that's kind of what you talk about, Jack, loving yourself and giving yourself that permission to learn your process and to travel your path. If you're doing it with genuineness, what else could you expect of yourself?
That's what I realized. It's more important to be honest than anything. But what I've also been learning is sometimes silence is honest. Sometimes it's better to be silent than to offer misinformation. I mean, not to highlight anything, but one of my thoughts with Jaron, he's experienced this experience where he misled himself and he may have misled others, right? And that's a tough feeling to deal with. Luckily, I avoided a lot of that, but I'd misled myself. That's for damn sure. And my son, taught him to believe in the American dream like I believed in the American dream. Life is wild, man. It really is. Sorry, I lost where we were. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's interesting how people get branded into these different categories and, sectors of YouTube, and then maybe something becomes less trendy, so they have to go rebrand themselves. And I've seen a number of people come up. Actually, even what I was mentioning earlier about the AI, that was someone that took a whole different direction, and a video came out of nowhere and was started talking about how I could train the AI and stuff. So it's just seemingly that people dedicated to this platform and whatever, they'll constantly be in a search for new ways to present themselves.
Well, I think that's part of our human adventure. We are here to grow and expand who we are. I'm pretty proud of how I've developed in myself. The results aren't anything to really be celebrating yet, but I ain't done. I truly feel renewed today. I'm ready to here for the viewers. Please consider this a call out. I'm inviting you to share some support to help me communicate with Andrew Wilson, Anton Daniels, what's his name, Jim, made by Jim Bob. Others who might be willing to have a civil and open discussion with me about the world events and different philosophies. Because it's time. I feel it's time. But I've been saying that a long time too, man. I don't know. One of the things that I was reminded of today, for everyone, please, to help yourself feel more at peace, let the doubter go. Let the doubter go. Because the doubter will bring us worry, fear, anger. It'll bring all the negativity. The doubter is our inner ego. It's that part we've developed through the character of our life. But the whole goal of life is just to be present with love.
And you have Anton Daniels' info, right, from back in the day? You could probably reach out to him pretty easy.
And then people. Sorry,
yeah, and then Andrew Wilson, I'm pretty sure he hangs out on the Raging Tomato, because I've seen him in Flow State chatting it up on there.
Yeah.
So he's pretty accessible that way. You could corner him on there and just say, hey, let's have this communication, because I think it'd be good for the people, and it's something I just have in my heart that we should do, or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I mean, for those who want to support the idea, they're welcome to share support. I'm not worried about chasing people either, but part of my predicament is what I want to do is to reach out to people who are more successful than me and encourage them to do more, right? And here, NJ Jeep Girl, John St. Julian, Baba Wamana, John St. Julian is a man I hope to speak with. And actually, he's one who I think if given the opportunity to speak with Donald Trump, he'd be one that I would love to be there, because he's a true follower of the way. He's living the spirit life. He's been following the Holy Spirit. He's got an incredible testimony. But he's busy with his refugees, with not the refugees, with his with the disabled children. He's already doing amazing things in this life. This is what I mean. There's so many human beings doing incredible things in this world. We don't have to settle for going along to get along. We don't have to settle. We can support growth, not only in ourselves, but in each other.
You could do like twice a month, one-on-ones with Jack. And then if someone donated a little bit of time that was good at that kind of stuff, they could be like a booking agent, but not like, it's not a big job. It's like a little bit there. You got to fill one slot. And they're just
Right.
kind of filtering to make sure it's the best, like the top type of tier communication for you.
That's what I'd love to have. That's what I'd love to have. Well, they are known characters, and their characters have their flaws. Every one of our characters has the flaws, but there is divine potential in us all. I'm not shooting low. I'm seeing what
It's stepping
have been
stones, Jack.
shown.
Look, you can step on their heads to get to
Oh,
the better conversations.
that's what I'm thinking. And really, it doesn't even have to be them. I only know who I've known. If anyone has ideas, I'd welcome the opportunity. Because I'm serious. The message that I want to share with this Live Without Fear is it is time for us to awaken to what is real. And what is real in this world, it's a humanitarian crisis. But we're in a spiritual battle. The secret to living without fear is to knowing love is already won. I didn't believe that. Not for a long time, but I was graced. I was blessed. God dumped faith upon me. I don't fault anyone for feeling afraid or alone or angry. I get it, man. But I know how much better it feels to just let it go, to let everything go and just be with things and the way things are so that your nervous system can settle. And as your nervous system settle, you feel better, you're more motivated to make healthy choices for yourself and others. But the key to breaking self-sabotage, it's up to each of us.
I still do the cold water plunging. I love that. It really resets my whole body chemistry and gives me an energy surge. I don't do it as much in the deep parts of winter because my body just can't handle it when it's that cold already. To go out in like January and February and jump in an Arctic cold pool is kind of insanity. But in the summer, I fucking love it. It's an amazing, tradition and commitment.
Yes, it is. I have, my routine isn't much. I just after a warm shower, I'll turn the cold on and really get refreshed. When I was in Texas, though, I couldn't get that. The cold wasn't that cold where I was. But anyway.
Yeah, even the ocean, right? In some places in Florida, I remember that you'd go in and it was like 80-degree water. It's like going in a hot tub.
Right. I've never, the future. I see myself doing a lot of travel in the future and meeting some amazing people. But however it happens, right? If it's not the names I named, for those who want to help me succeed, want to be a part of seeing if we can we convince Donald Trump and the members of Congress to do what is right? I
think you're off target in the sense that we're in this precipice of this whole new realm where the AI is going to influence everything. And I mean, I guess at a certain level, someone could say, well, I'm not even going to interact with it because I don't like it. And that might be a good choice. But for the majority of people that will on some level have it be a part of their lives, it's going to shape and form the opinions of the collective. So it's a hell of a lot more important what the AI says than what Donald Trump says right now, I guess, in the long game type of thought.
Every individual has the opportunity to give their power to anything they want. We live in a world of lies right now. Just before this, it's interesting you keep bringing this AI up, because just before I started this, I watched a short video by someone else presenting a hypothetical scenario of AI being easily used to create a civil war in America. You know, we're at this boiling point right now. The nation's so divided, the world's at war with itself, and it's normal.
Well, yeah, that's precisely my point. Exactly. Look how disastrous it can be if it's in the wrong hands or it ends up spreading the wrong message.
Well, the only reason it's a threat is because we live in a world that's divided and confused. Fear has been propagated more than knowledge, it seems. I'd like to fix
No,
that.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, there's something to that too. I don't deny that.
And the future I see, crime goes down when people aren't filled with anger at the injustice, at the pains they've experienced, right? Because so many children are coming from these homes where it's not safe. There's children being abused today, right? In fine neighborhoods, they're being neglected and beaten, just we live in a world where anger and fear have been enabled, right? Because people are pretending. People pretend to listen. They pretend to understand. They pretend to know, and they don't really ask questions so that they do. That's why we have doubts. Okay? We got to stop pretending and realize, what do I know? What don't I know? What am I going to do? And then really, what I do to simplify my life now is I live as I want to be, as my spirit of love leads me. And anywhere I go, I seek to bring forth whatever the immediate need is, right? If I see someone in need, I try to offer what I can. It's not hard. Jesus was the prototype. The churches and the religions overcomplicated the teachings. We all know how to do it. We just have to accept that we are and that we can.
But even Jesus, he had his moments, right? Like when he was sitting at that table and the woman was sitting there, and he's like, even the dogs will get the crumbs, from the master or whatever. Like he was almost referring to her because, like, I don't think she was of the bloodline. She wasn't God's people or whatever. So, she was only fit for the crumbs off the table, but also acknowledging her joy that she would even get that from him. I mean, I guess there's different ways to look at it, but it's like, I guess it's all perspective. One person's trash is another person's treasure. The level of appreciation is subject to the person's interpretation of the moment, I guess.
Sorry, Dick. We got a guest in the back, and the name made me chuckle. Probably not the right time, but
Who is it?
it's our friend, the powdered douchebag, apparently.
Oh, okay.
I didn't figure anybody would argue against it too hard.
No. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm feeling truly blessed, but I'm talking about the things that you ignore.
That I ignore or that we collectively ignore? Either one is fine.
Question. No, you're right. You're right. You do a good job of calling me out on my blind spots sometimes.
And you do a good job of receiving what I'm putting out a day or two later.
What? Anyway,
I'm just
Hey.
giving you shit.
actually, you might be a perfect link if you're willing to consider it. I love that things can be easy, so I'm always looking for the easiest route. Maybe it's because I'm lazy, but I'm honest. Easiest is best.
Yeah.
So I was just talking about part of my inspiration today, kind of repeating myself from earlier, but part of the inspiration today was looking at the world news, and seeing, man, the world's got to reevaluate what the world is doing. It's time. It's time for these charades to end and time for change. And then I was thinking about, how can we make this change? How can I grow this message quickly and easily? Well, there's some co-creators around here, Jim Bob, Andrew Wilson. They've got much greater numbers. They get a lot greater numbers. Plus, they know people that I don't know. And the hope is, I want to break the
Wanting to
pattern.
network?
What's that?
Are you wanting to network? Is that
That is what I'm hoping to do, but in a different style than what they're accustomed to. Anton Daniels is another one I mentioned. A different style than they're accustomed to, perhaps, because not as much the argument or the debate, but a true discussion on the philosophies of politics, economics, and religion, right? What are the effects of those things, and what's going on? Why are we at this point? And what can we do about it?
Yeah, I'd be happy to set something up. Text me after and we'll get it moving.
I appreciate that, because I know you're a networking man. You've been growing yourself, even with the change of name too.
Oh, it's just a temporary change.
Well, no, I mean, with the flow, what's going on with the flow state and powder dusty thing?
So flow state is still around. It actually, I got remonetized again about a month ago over there. But my active audience is accustomed to watching me on powder dusty now. So I'm still just doing things to the powder dusty. And I guess, I don't know, flow state's there. I gotta mess around with some of the visibility features for the videos, so that archive is available, because there's a lot of stuff there. And I do dual stream there occasionally, but mostly it's sort of an archive.
I know you've got a method to your madness. I know you got a way about you. I respect you. I respect that. We have disagreements, though, in the values, I think.
Yes,
that's been the difference.
Yeah, I mean, we basically fundamentally disagree on all of our perspectives, but somehow seem to get along just fine despite that most of the time.
I know. And
what's your difference in values, though?
Oh,
he's a socialist.
In a nutshell.
He's a commie and I'm a capitalist.
So fundamentally, he's for government. You're for free markets.
Right.
No. No.
He's for authoritarianism, empathetic authoritarianism, and I'm for psychopathic individualism.
Yeah, that's the key.
Only one of us gets the derogatory label.
You're for the individualism. And admittedly, I am about strength in collective, strength in community, because that's truly what it's going to take, is communities coming together, not to be at war with each other, but to bring solutions forth and to share the solutions with other communities.
My macro perspective on these things, though, is that I think that it's more important than my view on any specific topic. I think it's a sign of a, I don't know, healthy group to have sort of a variety of perspectives. So I wouldn't want everybody to agree with me on things.
Well,
it's amazing, though, because you would think you both actually want strong community. So you just have different ideas of how you would accomplish that.
Correct.
Yeah, accurate.
But there's kind of a projection because for the money system to exist, we must have the state's enforcement, and the state enforces through violence. So the only way the money system can continue, which is truly a fundamental process of the capitalist system, is through violence and oppression.
It depends on what you mean by the money system. Again, if we're talking about the central or bank fiat system, then I agree with you. But I think I'm splitting the same hair that we've split a few times here, right? The parasite on capitalism versus actual, capitalism, right?
Well, my opposition to the current systems, right? Whatever we call them, it rewards the selfish and the greedy. It rewards the manipulators and the oppressors.
I disagree.
How do you disagree?
Because manipulating, oppressing, attacking, being an immoral piece of shit person, that's a short-term success strategy, but a long-term guarantee of failure.
Okay.
So there are structures in place that, like the criminal justice, the war on drugs is a great example, right? This is a monstrosity that started out, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, with good intentions. Let's just say it was good intentions. At this point, it's such a behemoth, and so many people depend on it economically that I don't see how it could ever be unraveled. Now, I don't remember where I was going to land that.
I'm trying to remember where we started too.
I'm glad that you're as ate up as I am.
Hey, I'm feeling at peace, truly, and
You look at peace.
Just calm conversations. That's really what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, but it's almost like the immoral make it impossible for capitalism to work, but yet it forces this need for like government intervention, and yet that just becomes communism. It's just like this never-ending process to try to appease two sides of how to solve something that both don't ever really seem to make a perfect solution. It's just a compromise.
Sorry, I missed what you said, Dick, but I remembered what Dusty was saying.
My signal's probably bad. I'll cut out.
No,
I got you. You came through fine.
Yeah, no, I wasn't listening, is what I was saying. Sorry. Shoot. You said something correct. If in fact it rewarded selfishness and corruption, it would be self-destructive, something along those lines. That's an unsustainable pattern of being selfish and corrupted. That's what I suggest our entire government and economic systems are. These laws are created to protect the corruption, not the just.
I didn't say that about selfishness. I said that about deceptive and
oh yes,
and malicious, basically.
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't think selfishness is a bad thing. I also don't think that selfishness actually separates from altruism cleanly at all. I think that in reality, we're all so intertwined that what's good for me is probably going to be good for you. I believe that a rising tide lifts all ships.
Here, sorry to interrupt again.
Even if you don't know better,
Right, correct.
It's like if I just clean up the food supply, even though a lot of people don't give a shit, they're still going to benefit. They're going to have less disease. They're going to be more intelligent. It's going to benefit everybody.
Hey, welcome to Free. How are you, my friend?
What's up, Jack? How's it going? It's me.
We know.
Yeah. So I got a few things for you today.
Please.
You mentioned the inner talk, that the dialogue that we have with ourselves while we're thinking and stuff, and I struggled with this a lot earlier in my life and everything. And for anyone out there or whoever, if you're struggling with that, a lot of times the word of God itself is actually a good way to replace those thoughts with, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and just kind of repeat scripture in your mind. And, if the Son therefore shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. If you're trying to overcome something, these things are very helpful in breaking through and, kind of reforming your thought patterns in a positive way. So I just
Sounds
wanted to mention
schizophrenic.
that. Well, you have to believe in the God of the Bible in the first place, I guess, for it to work. But yeah, I mean, if you're always like on a negative tearing down of yourself, that's I found that was a good way for me to rebuild myself up.
I love that. I love that reminder. It requires the willingness to accept the wisdom, right? To go to the scripture for the wisdom. You've got to be willing to. I wasn't willing to open the book for a long time, right? But when I did and I started finding the wisdom, I actually love that tip to freak. For those who are dealing with these patterns of low self-doubt, you're dealing with the negative self-talk. A good way to break that is through inspiration. Find it in the Bible, find it from somewhere that inspires you. Wisdom is why we're here. We're here to grow and to learn. And I tell you what, everything comes back to Jesus. It really does. He was the prototype for us to follow. Unconditional love. That is the way. Forgiveness. It brings the miracle of freedom. We overcome our doubts when we're willing to forgive. Oh, that was one of the things. Something I've noticed a pattern of us all is we're afraid to be wrong sometimes, right? We'll do everything we can to avoid being shown we're wrong. There's plenty of evidence with that here on my channel. But we don't have to be afraid of being wrong when we have faith. When we have faith that everything is okay. Everything is okay either way. I'm going to be okay. The world is okay. We can claim our right to be okay. It's an inner game. And faith, it truly is a gift. It's a gift offered by God, by the grace of God. That's my only way to explain it.
Yeah, Jack, you're so right
I don't
about
think
the
we'll be able to
worrying and the
live in a.
anxiety. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, the worrying and the anxiety and the time wasted on basically speculation.
Yep.
Is just a real waste of. It's just a waste of time. I don't know how else to say it, but it can eat you up and it can paralyze you even for some people. Go ahead.
That's what I said early in the stream today too. Doubt and worry, it's a time-wasting practice. You want a better life, start conserving how you spend your time, being intentional with how you spend your time. You'll see a better life emerge. It's really that simple. But to break away from the doubts, to let the doubter go, because that doubter is the part of us that's there to protect us. But if you give yourself to God, you got nothing to worry about. Nothing at all.
Well, and fear is the only emotion that shuts down right and left brain activity. So you get less logical and less creative under fear. It's the only emotion that does that. So that's people will try to leverage that a lot. So don't let them scare you into things like hell.
Right. This is what I mean. Our society has, there's been so much damage done to people, whether it was intentional or unintentional. We are living in a very toxic world, right? Where children were taught to fear God and fear that they were taught to believe that they go through this one life and it's make it or break it. You're either good enough for heaven after this one try, or you go to hell for eternity to be punished and tortured. What the frick, man? That's crazy sauce.
Yeah, it's a
1950
bunch of
style
pressure.
Victorian Catholicism.
It's the remnants of the past, but it's the reality
Catholic
we're a
guilt.
part of. The Catholic guilt, that's real. There's a lot of Catholics who carry a lot of guilt because that's what the church taught them to feel. And I could go on and on about religions, but we are the solution. This is the key to realize. Every problem individually that we face, the solution is going to come through us, one way or another. Maybe we'll find others who help us with the problem. Maybe we won't, but it's all up to each of us. And what I found helps my life is when I see fewer problems. I stop worrying about my expectations. I stop allowing myself to spend time in doubts and worries because I finally connected the dots. Hey, that shit doesn't feel very good, and I'm not accomplishing much. I don't know. The burden of Damascus.
Anyway, I
Jesus.
gotta go. I just thought it'd be interesting conversations, and it seems realistic that you could make that happen. So, bravo to you for having a plan that. Because sometimes I think some of your stuff's a little pie in the sky, but it doesn't hurt to have hairy goals either. And I disagree with you. I'm more of the individual type of mindset. Like you really can't. I don't think we're gonna change the world. We just got to change ourselves, and that's the best we can offer. But I still encourage you on your journey, and I hope you make those conversations happen. I think it'd be fun.
Thank you.
Cheers. Have a good one.
I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you.
Yeah, so I want to present I guess a suggestive kind of a plan that would be a little bit more. Let's just say you happen to show up at Donald's desk tomorrow, and you were to talk to him about something, and I would think based on what I asked you earlier that you're a little bit unprepared. So I want to present something that you could think about, and that would actually line up with scripture, and that therefore it could happen and would actually be a benefit to me as well. So
smuggling that Bible agenda into a.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I approve of the tenacity.
I appreciate this, and I'm curious to see what you brought, but I'm confident that what I'm suggesting actually is in line with scripture in many ways.
It is in terms of motivation, but there also needs to be a pragmatic, a field, I don't know what they call it, but a field plan or whatever, a field map or something. So
he wants to make sure that no foreskins are gone untrimmed.
Yeah. Anyway, please go ahead.
Yeah. So Russia has got kind of a hold on the Ukraine sovereignty and land and everything right now. So there's really nothing for Donald to really salvage at this point in terms of the sovereignty of Ukraine. And so I think that any part of a deal is going to have to involve Syria. And so cutting up Syria is something that has to be on the table. And it makes a lot of sense because you could make a claim for the Palestinians to get a piece of it, for the northeast section part of Syria, who has a kind of a different ethnicity, to have a part of it. The Kurds could have a part of it. And there's another major group of Syrians that could have, another part. So, and then those Europeans that are the Syrians that went to Europe that fled there could come back and actually have, something of a functional, stable area to actually kind of, prosper. So Russia, the Russia-Ukrainian peace deal is probably going to have to include some part of Syria or all of Syria being carved up into sections. Okay, and that would make sense for Russia because they would need a naval base in the Mediterranean there, because they have no really good access for their navy in that part of the world at this point, because they have interests in Africa now. They already had oil contracts in Syria, And so if you offer them some sort of coastal naval port right there in Syria, they could give back that land to Ukraine, and it would be kind of a, tit for tat, kind of a shared interest, uh, a way to give them something to get the Ukrainian sovereignty back, because right now they don't have that. And they would all definitely line up with Isaiah 17. And there you go.
What does Isaiah 17 say?
Basically, it says that, Damascus is taken away from being a city, that the rest of Syria is going to be occupied with flocks, which are Christians. So that's something that you're going to see.
Do you see how your religion has made you a complete fucking moron?
No, it's pretty practical, actually, what I'm putting forth. I mean, it's not like the Russians don't have oil interests already in Syria.
What
Right.
about the Syrians?
Well, here's what I'd like you to consider, DeFreak. And sometimes people get fixed on what the book says and more lose sight of what the message really is. And I can understand what you're talking about. I see the value in what you're suggesting, but the image I've got in my head is humanity overcomes these borders. The nation states are redefined, right? Where value and life is truly respected. This was the thought I realized with Donald Trump when I heard him say there's no reason for a ceasefire. He's focused on a peace treaty at some future date. So he didn't think bringing up or supporting a ceasefire right now was appropriate. He cares more about money than human life. That's what the world has accepted. People place money above life. That's how I got miserable. I became attached to the security of my paycheck, and I was afraid to grow. And I punished myself with my guilt and my madness, my doubts, and my alcoholism. But then I found a different way. And I tell you what, every way I've learned, it brings us back to the way that Jesus showed. Love is the way. And so, DeFreak, there's many ways to accomplish this, but truly, peace has to be the purpose. And if peace is the purpose, we don't have to worry about where the military bases are going to be deployed, right? We need to work. We have the ability, the technology. Dick kept bringing up the advancements in AI and technology. We're living at this prime time of humanity, where we could use the technology and totally transform this world we live in, breaking away from the oppressive systems of taxation and paychecks and debts and regulations and licensing and all this other crazy crap people thought was a good idea. We can create better ways, and I'm pretty sure that's what Jesus was doing. That's the example we're here to follow. We're here to fulfill our greatest purpose, whatever that might be. Say yes to life. Say yes to life as often as you can, and then you feel better about the life you're living, especially if it means giving of yourself for another so their life becomes better. But you can't really do that with love until you've practiced self-care for yourself. And the best path for self-care I want to promote is face the inner doubts. Face the wounded child that's within. Once those are healed, man, life, it starts again. Thoughts?
I'm curious. I mean, the freak brought the first point. The freak brought for you to suggest to you was to start another war.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see what the others are.
Not start a war, but dividing a nation would start a war. Yes, I agree. But what he also said, I love the idea of, rather than complaining or, reinforcing more border patrol, golly geez, let's help these immigrants return to their home nation. Let's help their nations develop into the comfort that America has grown accustomed to. We could do it. If money wasn't the priority, it would be done.
Absolutely.
Money is just a
another
tool for the
thing-
standards of living you're suggesting, right? The money isn't the value. It's a tool to ease transactions. So, I guess you can't increase wealth, which is what we're really describing, by not focusing on wealth. You see how that's like an Ouroboros or something?
I
You have
think
to
you're
provide security is what you have to do to make sure there's stability to be able to create wealth.
Say that again.
But you have to have America would need to, or somebody on that side of the world would need to supply security in order to have stability in order to develop economically. But what I'm laying forth is, we have bases all over the place over on the eastern side of the hemisphere. And so if we want to say, like, relinquish some of that to, say, Russia, who's, probably number 2 or number 3, and they also are investing in Africa. They've already been in Syria with infrastructure and oil there. Then that's where you have to start. And Syria is already an unstable country for the last at least 15 years.
It's more stable than Ukraine.
It's a freak.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
there's a lot of instability, and you're still bringing up Russia as though there's going to be competitions between the states. What God has shown, what the facts reveal, whether people understand it or not, it's the truth. We are one. An injury to one is an injury to ourselves. And we need to stop harming each other.
I mean,
caring.
It's insane. It's insane.
Wars.
The freak. You're proposing starting an entirely new war, dividing up. It's like you failed on a humanitarian level, on a strategic level, and on a reading the room level with where you propose starting this new war. On every level, you fail because of Isaiah.
That is accurate.
Like, pull your head out of your ass a little bit. Catch a breath of air. You're lacking oxygen up there.
But wait a second. What new war, though?
Syria is a country with people that live in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you think that the civil war is actually ended there, or
what does that matter?
What does it matter? It's not a new war.
You're saying they have some internal conflict, so we might as well go fuck them up and take advantage of it?
Oh, wait. No, please. Actually, Dusty, this is what I like about you. You do have a way of communicating. And DeFreak, is your idea that the civil wars would be abated by the division of that current state?
Right, and you prevent the genocide of the Palestinians.
Okay.
Right. So
not enough oxygen up there.
Well, I'm just saying, the Kurds have been roaming around in that area, causing trouble for the Turks and for the Iraqis, and right. So
we
why
can get
not
rid of the
carve
Kurds?
them a little piece of the Syrian northwest? Northeast, right? And then you have. Go ahead, Jack.
I want to simplify it if we can, all right? Because the states and the different peoples, it gets very complicated. But the reality is, people have been at war with people because the world taught people to pretend, not to be real, not to be authentic, not to be true and honest and kind. The world taught people to pretend that it's okay to hurt each other, that it's okay to go along. But to freak what you're talking about, yeah, there's civil unrest, dude. What is happening with the world right now, it's a wake-up call for everyone. And there's many, many people who are awakening. I'm so proud of some of the things I do get to see. some of the protesters, some of the activists, some of the men and women, the youth actually standing up and saying enough is enough. Millions in Israel, as it was reported, right? Or maybe 1 million in Israel, finally standing up against their state. Where's the millions in America standing against what's going on in America? But I don't feel like being out in the streets myself anymore. I want to be in front of the decision makers, right? The people who are responsible for these choices. Man, this is real what's happening with me. It's what I've been saying. I'm a new version of a messenger, here to let people know that, hey, God's love, it's the way. It's the only way to be. I'm following the way of Jesus. I do believe that wars can end. I believe that Donald Trump somehow is a big part of this, right? He's a big part of this reality we're in.
Yeah.
Did you see the Bible verse in back, Jack? That's why this terrible idea does. He's starting from the starting point is that Syria needs to be gone.
Not gone, but just carved up.
Well, part of the lesson I'm sure is going to be agreed to is it's time to overcome the religious doctrine. It's time to recreate the world into something new, something better, something greater. We can learn from the past. There's tons to be learned from each of the different philosophies and traditions. There's so much to learn. That's the whole point of life. We're here to learn. How much time do we spend arguing and worrying? It's crazy sauce,
Time
man.
spent arguing is never wasted.
You make the most out of it. I've noticed. You've learned how to capitalize on it. You do well.
It's like fish in water. That's how my whole family was.
I used to love it myself. It was my favorite pastime, arguing with my friends at the bar or on the boat, whatever, and telling stories.
On the boat? You used to be on a boat?
My buddy Sean.
He was a pirate.
No, my best friend had a boat, so it was the perfect situation for me. But yeah, I used to love arguing and dancing around in my memories, but I was miserable. I was pretending to be happy. And really, it was a struggle for me to continue day after day. So somehow I say that I've been blessed, and I feel that I've been blessed. My inner voice, right? I learned how to allow it to fade away. And then I learned how to listen to my heart and my intuition. That is what's been guiding me since 2018, to be honest. Holy shit. That's confirmation of another adage. The distance from hell to heaven is about, 12 inches? You get out of your head and into your heart, and you'll find where, and in my body, my anger was right next to my love. The sensations were real close to one another. And so I felt warm in my anger. I felt comfort in my contempt for many years. But then I learned the power of inner thought. You got something?
Yeah. This is so the book of Isaiah was written in the 8th century BC. This is from the history of Syria on Wikipedia. It says, from the 10th century BC, the Neo-Assyrian Empire arose, and Syria was ruled by Assyria for the next 3 centuries until the late 7th century, and was still known as Aberneri and Aram throughout this period. It is from this period that the name Syria first emerges, but not in relation to modern Syria, but as an Indo-European corruption of Assyria, which in fact encompasses modern regions of northern Iraq, northeast Syria, southeast Turkey, and northwestern fringe of Iran. After this empire finally collapsed in the 6th century BC, blah, 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 it's already fractured.
Right.
Okay, so Isaiah's done. You can put away Isaiah.
But you
That's
also
already
see that
happened.
it says Damascus. It doesn't say Syria or Assyria. It says
It says
Damascus.
Syria.
Okay, so this is actually a prophecy that's.
So why are
happening
you trying to
before our
carve up
eyes.
Syria if you mean Damascus?
Well, because modern day Syria is what encompasses Damascus. Okay, and just like you said, it's already fractured. We're just going to be,
No,
defining
Well,
those fractures
can I-
so that there can be peace.
Well,
Okay,
okay.
and then if the goal was to bring home our troops and to get out of war, you've got to give
Start a new
Russia.
one.
You've got to
Is this
give
the
Russia
Taco channel
something.
now?
Why would Russia give up any part of Ukraine just because Donald Trump says so? It ain't gonna happen.
Okay, DeFreak, I really want you to try some different ideas, please. Okay? Because I get where you're coming from, but you're not really understanding what I'm saying. You wanted to correct me.
I understand what you're saying, but you've got to have
No,
you've got to have a practical plan to be able to put forth to the
DeFreak.
president.
DeFreak. Let's assume I do. And you just don't know it. Let's assume that I trust God will bring it forth at the right time. So
I'm bringing you something from the scripture, right? That's from God. Okay.
No, it's not.
And you see what I'm saying? So
well,
and I believe that God can do what you're saying that he can do, right?
Yes.
I've told you that before. I've told you
Absolutely.
that God can do anything. If it's you, Jack.
Right.
I've told you that.
I know.
So
Thank
I'm
you.
telling you something that's practical that could happen and that lines up with scripture. I'm just laying it out for you. If that happens, it happens.
I
Is
know.
that fair enough?
Yes, it is. I appreciate that. And I want to offer one other thing, though, too. The scripture comes from God, but in reality, all things come from God. There is no thing absent from God. It's impossible for us to recognize anything that is, because only God is. And that's what the true message of Jesus is there is a divine nature to us all. We are
Except for the
that.
Syrians, right? The Syrians are not.
Well, this is the thing. The Bible is an amazing story, and history is a greater story. The Bible is a part of. Now, why is it there? I think it's for the purpose of this perfect story. The perfect story of a man and a group, right? A group of people dealing with this prophecy, and then the fulfillment of the prophecy, and then the messages. And it's a perfect story. We are in this Jesus timeline, and we're here today. So the perfect story is continuing to be revealed. How do you feel? That's the way to know. How do you feel? What is your relationship with you and what God brought you to do? Because everything God is not a thing. We are not things. We are experiences. God is an experience. It's beyond the limits of our mind. Our vocabulary can't do it justice. And our human minds, once you start getting into scale and time, the human mind can't, we're limited in what we can, well, we're not limited. We can reach into the infinite, but you got to allow your mind to break beyond the old paradigms, the old limits. That's what I learned for myself. In order to feel
Jack,
better,
mind if I
please.
go back and forth with Dusty a little bit?
Sure, please.
So I posted the Isaiah 14:31 verse that I brought to you once before in the back, And we went back and forth on this, and I said that, does this describe current reality to you? And he said, no, it could be. I think he said, like, no, it could be from anywhere at any time. It doesn't apply. And I think that we both came away with still disagreeing, but the end result would be if Palestine ended up.
Let me read it so that the audience knows what the fuck we're talking about.
Okay.
Please and thank you.
Isaiah 14:31 says, "Howl, O gate, cry, O city, thou whole Palestine art dissolved. For there shall come from the north a smoke, and none shall be alone in his appointed times." This is ambiguous as shit. You could apply it anywhere.
What if the meaning behind that is the identification of separated groups dissolved? Right? There was no longer people identified as American or Chinese or Russian. There was just people. Because I have a feeling that's an interpretation as well in the day of judgment, where there will be two in the field and then there will be one. It'll be like a realization. The ego will fade away. And once that selfish, insecure, the doubting part of us, once that fades away and only the true divine nature remains, that makes sense. We break through duality. We overcome the limitations and the paradigms of the past.
Well, what this tells me first and foremost is that there will not be a Palestinian state at the end of all of this that happens. No matter what the solution ends up being, it's going to be Israel, and the two-state solution will be Israel to no Palestine. Okay, that's what this scripture is telling me first and foremost.
Okay. So can we pause here and just admire the fact that this Bible has, and you're not alone in this, you're just representative of a bazillion other dumb fucks, because this book and your insanity, you've completely dehumanized everybody there. Your entire worldview starts with that city got to go.
Wow, I've never seen you virtue signal before, Flo.
I'm not virtue signaling. I'm a piece of shit too. I just am aware of it.
Well,
you don't think you're a piece of shit, but you're a bigger piece of shit than I am.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. Clutch those pearls.
No, here, please. I appreciate it. I appreciate the feedback. I encourage you, be considerate. You don't have to be as insulting. Okay.
I'm sorry, the freak. I like you. You know, I'm just volatile sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
You're amazing.
I think that your belief system is abhorrent, and I find value in presenting the issues with it to people so that they can see the brain rot and cancer that is religion. I don't mean to be a dick to you. I like you, and I'm sure that I'll regret being mean in half an hour.
That's right. Why
we've been through it a few times. It's no big deal,
Yeah. Here,
but
let me.
You have to understand that in this scripture, real quick, Jack. Palestine or Palestina was not even a place or a people or a thing in the time of Isaiah. Okay, so it's not like this is just.
So it may be a bad translation.
It could be anything. We don't know what we don't know. And Dusty, I think you and I agree much in criticisms of religion and many of the religious, because it is fascinating that it truly limits the thought process. Thank you, Lawyer Chick. Blessings to you. War is stupid. Peace all day. That is the key. The criticism on the religion, though, and on the religious, people have placed themselves above others just because they learned a doctrine. That's an absurdity. What's that?
Yeah, I agree with that. It is absurd.
Well, and I think that's what is happening with Israel. I mean, people are just so confused. People are at war and children are dying, right? Children are starving. Men and women are starving. Just because they're not here doesn't mean it's not happening.
Those aren't children. Those are just speed bumps on the road to revelations.
It is. It is. I've seen videos that make the appearance that Netanyahu is perhaps an accelerationist, those who want to bring the devastation and destruction to expedite the emergence and the realization of Christ, the return of Christ. I call it an emergence and a realization, because God is going to fulfill prophecy through us. So why not let it be us who brings peace to the world, who brings forth new ways of living, new ways of understanding what was and what used to be? Because that's what Jesus did. He brought what others had been creating, all these rules and obedience, and he couldn't animal sacrifice, all sorts of craziness. And so he brought the message for us, and it's a perfect story if you can accept it. But whether or not you can accept the story, love is real. Unconditional love, forgiveness, all these things are really available for us to know. It takes practice. It takes the willingness to surrender away the old ways, because the world taught us to believe in these characters of who we were, the diagnosis, the conviction, the reputation, right? Or the profession.
Yeah. Hey, Jack.
Yes, sir.
Let me just say that, in order to get like saved and go to heaven and stuff, all you have to do is believe in Jesus. Like, most people aren't going to be freaks like me and going, reading the Old Testament prophets, getting into this, hardcore into the stuff, So like, if you decide to, like, you want to believe in God and go to heaven, that kind of stuff, and all the, the good stuff, that doesn't mean you're going to be a freak like me or whatever. Okay. But coattailing off what you were just saying, shoot, I lost it, Jack. Shoot, I forgot what I was going to say. Now it'll come back to me in a second. This happens to me at least once every time we talk.
Me and Jack got it worse though. The space
Sorry.
brain. Yeah, you and me space off more than he does, so he doesn't need to worry about it.
No.
Yeah.
I had my connection dropped, so I missed everything. But
bummer. Wonder if the audience heard what I said.
Must that.
Dang, I just can't remember right now what I was going to say, but it'll come back to me.
I'm kind of curious what Landry thinks about all this.
Me too.
About the war? About religion? About Iran? About Syria?
About any point of it.
Any of it.
I mean, it's one of those things where, for me, clearly I come down to being one human, and keeping my this is where me and Jack will differ, where I try to keep the things that I'm doing small, and focus on what I can change. As far as with the war and all that goes, I do think that there's some dark places that I do like to research. I think you can find a lot of answers if you go in the right places as to what's happening, and why it's happening, who's responsible. But I found myself, when I get too caught up in that game, I get less caught up in myself and my development. So I've kind of taken a little bit of a step back as to recently, but it used to consume me. I used to watch those videos and I used to feel, really just troubled by it. But I mean, for me, it's clear that either we don't know what's going on, and like we'll really never be able to tell, because there's so many different pieces to the puzzle, where there's this country and this conflict and that conflict, or we do know what's going on and we just let it keep happening. So I think it's important to talk about and all that, but I do think religion is just as bad as, I mean, I don't know I'd say religious people are better than staunch atheists, because they're at least on the right path to something that's more than science, more than the scientific method and things that exist outside of that spectrum. But yeah, I do have issues with religious people because they get so caught up in the details, you know what I mean, which it seems like is happening in this sense, but I could be wrong.
I would,
remember now.
Real quick before you go, I guess I would pause or counter that religious people are more attuned towards social inclusion, right, in their church community. I think they confuse social inclusion and self-righteousness for higher values. But I suppose it's a matter of a perspective, and neither one of us probably right or wrong entirely on that one.
Well, it's one of those things where I always say, you know, who would I leave my child with? You know what I mean? And I go to these churches from time to time just to kind of feel it out. And I feel as though it's more of a place where I'd feel comfortable meeting some stranger, getting to know them pretty quickly, and, you know, saying like, hey, this is somebody that I would trust on a pretty significant basis. As far as the other side, you know, with the atheism, I feel like it's usually the opposite, where you can just tell they're not the kind of person you want around your family. And I know that's a very subjective take, but that's something that I always try to.
No, I know what you're referring to, though. Atheists, self-defined hardcore atheists are a weird group for sure.
Yeah.
I generally have hope for atheists, but communists are a different story. Anyway, what I was going to say, Jack, was that, you know, when it comes to, when you said earlier in the broadcast that, you know, things aren't making sense or they don't make sense. I find that in the political arena, when things are just not making sense and it's kind of confusing, that's when I find that it's actually God working, doing his work. You know, if we can't make sense of something and it's like, well, what the heck is going on? You know, a lot of times that's when I find that, you know, he's doing his thing.
Right.
That was what I couldn't remember. Yeah.
God is revealing the future through us, for us. The past was revealed to us, for us, so that we could learn from it. I've learned enough. God has blessed me with learning from people that others may not have learned from. I've had several years. I mean, this is my testimony. I've had several years without a family, a social life, no real intimate relationships, or a career. So I've had a lot of time and opportunities to learn a lot of different things. God's allowed me to put a lot of pieces together in the bigger picture. I don't claim to know all the details. I don't feel I need to know all the details. I do know that we are the future. We are those who were praying for the better future, right? We're the result of our ancestors and those before them and those before them. There's a continuing story that we're a part of. It's all a big dream. It's time to wake up. Wake up to the dream. The dream is to live the life you can love. And if you can't love your life, it means it's time to change, to do something different, to step out of the old ways of thinking. That's as simple as that.
Yeah, so that's all great stuff, Jack. I'm gonna jump down now. I just wanted to give you something that you wouldn't end up just with your thing in your hand if you ended up at the desk with Donald Trump tomorrow. All right.
I appreciate
Love you,
that.
man. Take care.
Thank you.
Take it easy to freak.
You. And actually, I am feeling it's about that time. Powder.
I think if you meet Trump, you would be much better off showing up with your dick in your hand than with what he just proposed.
Well, I think you're right. I get him. I could communicate with him, I'm sure. If he was willing to sit with me for 20 minutes, he'd love me and he'd have me around. And then I'm telling you. I just
Do you know where the freak lives? Have you talked about visiting the freak while you're moving around? No,
not yet. The next on my list, maybe I shouldn't. I already talked to Zetetic Warrior. Train ride, I guess, from here isn't too long. I heard other people talking about taking a train to New York and New Jersey, and so I figure, why not? I'll go check that out. I've never done that. So I don't know.
That would be fun.
I think so too.
Do you want to talk about the train girl?
Train girl
from Dallas?
Oh, the bus girl.
Bus girl, right, bus girl.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. I got a text from Cynthia and from El Perro about it. I don't know what's going on. And
we were trying to get a hold of you to say, like, this is a scam. Don't do anything with these people. Don't give them anything.
No.
It's an act of God.
No, it's truly. I've been talking with Mom. She's a lovely woman. She sends me scripture quotes each morning.
She's a
So
scammer. She's a scammer.
no, see, you
Yes,
guys
she
live
is.
with
Yes.
such distrust.
She didn't file a police report. We called the Dallas PD.
So what?
So her daughter's not missing.
Look, I got a call from the Dallas Police Department, the missing persons. They said that the family wanted to report it, but they hadn't actually seen the daughter in Texas. So they needed to speak with me. I confirmed, yes, I saw her. This is where the location was, the time and the day. And then they were going to get the rest of the details from the niece or the mom, I guess.
Can I have the that phone number so I can call the missing persons department?
Oh, yeah.
Is there a place that is? Do they have an actual location?
Who?
The missing people? Is there like a physical location that they operate from, or is it just a call line?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'll tell you what, that's an interesting question. I'll share the number with you if you're interested in it.
Yes, please do.
Because that would be interesting. But I don't feel that was it. I saw a lady that was distraught. She'd been traveling, it was a short notice trip, and she'd been traveling. She lost her phone. I think she lost her pocketbook, and she's lugging a suitcase around. And then she gets on the phone with Mom, and Mom is upset, worried. So it was two upset people talking to each other, and they weren't listening to each other. So that's where, Cynthia and I were there, both people who care, It was an opportunity to try and step up. We don't always succeed when we try.
You still get karma credit for doing the helpful thing. I just don't want to see you do any more.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I've got a reputation of making foolish choices.
No good deed goes unpunished.
That's not something.
You're right. I don't really believe that saying either. My dad says it, and it kind of grinds in, but no stupid deed goes unpunished. How about that? Or careless, whatever. You get what I'm saying. Give me that number whenever, and I'll reach out to to some people and see if we can set something up.
Much love. Mm-hmm. I appreciate you, and thanks for today. This was fun.
It was. Salute to the panel. Salute to the chat. Adios.
And that is the Powder Dusty. For those who may not know, I'd find that to be a surprise, but we'll share them later. Landry, what are you feeling, man?
Good job. Good show. It's a little bit quiet, obviously, just kind of letting you do your thing. And it's cool. I'm glad everything's working out.
I'm glad. All right. Thank you very much. Sincerely to all who joined, tuned in, joined the panel. You check in later, however you find your way here. Thank you. Blessings to you. I'm going to wrap it up quickly, but just want to remind, each of us within us, we've got the ability. We will feel pain. This is real. Life does bring pain. Suffering is a part, but there's solutions to it all. And the pain doesn't have to consume you. You can pretend that you're okay. And sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. But that's kind of what faith is really about. Faith is really about stepping into the miraculous, believing that the impossible is available to you. And you know what? You can pretend to be broken. You can pretend to be angry. You can pretend to be confused. You're pretending. And until you accept that pretend isn't real, then you're just going to keep reacting with the same patterns of emotions and the same patterns of routines. That's the life I used to live. Today, I lean into the creative. I no longer let the inner doubts take me over. And with that, I'm going to pass that idea to you. I hope you face your fears. Don't give them any power. Don't allow your time to be wasted by unhelpful worry, by negative doubting. Choose love. It really is the only way. Once you get it down, it's the only way you want to be. And then you want to share it with everybody. And then you might sound like me, but that's up to you what you think of that. I'm going to wrap it up now. Till next time, choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. Thank you again, and God bless us all.